All right, let's continue investigate lines. And this lecture, we're going to talk about a couple of examples and a couple of related concepts with the line. Right? So before we get into the line, let's summarize what we learned before. So lines that we are studying, and slope, first of all, referred to m was change in y over change in x, and slope between 2 points was y2 minus y1 and x2 minus x1. That was slope. Now we also talked about three different forms. One was general form, and it looks like ax plus by equals c. Another one was point slope form, when we have a point and a slope, y minus y1 m x minus x1. That was point slope form. And the last one that we also talked about was slope intercept form, which is y equal mx plus b. So, these three different forms may look different, but they're all referring to the same thing, and they are referring to a line equation. That's a straight line equation. So now in this video, we're going to talk about several related concepts, and also we're going to try a couple of examples. Now, let's say graphing. Graph. Let's say y equal 2. Now, how would you graph this? How would you graph y equal 2? If you think about this, well, the first point that come to my mind, if we have y equal 2, let's say this is y-axis, this is x-axis, and the first point that comes to my mind is this point right there, y equal 2 point. But if you really think about this, since this doesn't have any restriction on x, y is 2 right at this point, but what about this point right here? What's the y value? Well, that's also 2. What about this point right here? Well, that's also 2. What about this point right there? Well, that's also 2. So even though the x value of all these points are all different, the y value of these points are all the same. So if you connect all that point, then you come up with this line. And that line is the graph of y equal 2. Now in the same sense, what about this? X equal, say, x equal -3. All right, similar but different. This one only has x value, so the first point again that comes to my mind when we have something like this, let's say this is y-axis, this is x-axis, and 1, 2, 3. So -3, that's the first point that comes to my mind. But as you can see, what x value of that point is -3, x value of this point is -3, x value of this point is -3 too. So if you just connect all that, that's going to be y equal -3, right? Y equal -3. Okay. Now let's talk about a slightly different graphing technique. let's say line contains a point 3 1 and has a slope of, let's say, 3/5. Okay, 3/5. Okay, so this is the only clue that we have. Well, we're gonna start with this point, right? So 3 1. It's difficult to draw a line here. Do my best. Okay, so 3 1. Let's say 1 2 3 and 1. Start from this point. 3 and 1. This is y-axis. This is x-axis. This is y-axis. Okay, and slope. So we're gonna start with whatever the given point that we have, which is this. And slope being 3/5, you know that this is delta y, the y change. You know that this is delta x, the x change. So let's apply the y change first. When we say positive 3, then we start from here. Which direction should we go? We're going to go up. 1, 2, 3, like this. So at the moment, that point right there must be 4. Because from 1, we went 3 up. Now from that point, let's apply the x change. That's 5. That's a plus 5. So we're going to go to the right or left. Plus 5. To the right, of course. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5. End up having this point. And can you guess what this point might be? From 3, we went up 5. That's right. It's going to be 8. So that point is going to be 0.84. Remember the x first and the y second. So our line, our graph now should look like this. Passing. Oh, horrible line. Okay, let me try again. Something like that, right? So passing those 2 points, supposed to be a straight line. Okay. Now let's try another one. Let's say it contains same format as this. It's passing -1 and 3 and has slope as -2/3. How about that? Okay. Now, when we say the slope is -2/3, then we have to make up our mind. We should interpret this either -2/3 or 2/3, right? We should choose any one of those when we actually apply the slope and try to graph, right? So let's see. Okay, better. Y-axis, x-axis, starting from the given point. So negative 1 and 3. 1, 2, 3. So this is 3 and that's negative 1. And we start from this point. Now, it doesn't really matter which one that you apply, so let's apply this, right? Y being, this is Y change, right? This is X change. So Y being negative 2, which way should we go from here? Being negative 2. 2 step down. 1 and 2 step down. So far we are here. Now, X being positive 3. So 1, 2, 3. End up being that point, that must be 2, right? So now our line, let me change color, our line should be like this. Well, our line should be like this. Okay. Now, we can also have question that ask us to figure out equation of the line, and they can only give us certain clue. For example, let's say find equation of the line passing two, 3 and negative 4 and 5. Now, remember the point slope form, and I also told you before that it's one of the most popular form, most often used, because in many cases, if you want to find the line equation, you have to use point slope form in one way or another, right? So this is 2 points that we have. So how do we find line equation? Because point slope, if you want to use point slope form, we need a point, but we also need a slope. What we have is 2 points instead of 1, but we don't have slope. So what do? Well, we can find slope first. Remember that x1, y1, x2, y2, we can actually find slope first. Find them first, meaning m is going to be y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. So this is going to be 2 over negative 6, which is negative 1/3, right? Negative 1/3. Okay, so we have our slope now, which is negative 1/3, and we have our point and a slope. So what do we use? Point slope form. So we're going to use y minus y1 m x minus x1. So what's our y? y1 is 3. What's our m? Negative 1/3 x minus 2. Okay. Now, we are going to simplify this. So we have to expand this. I mean, there's more than one way to do this. What I would like to do though, whenever that I have this, fraction like that, I don't want to deal with it if I don't have to. So I'm trying to get rid of this 3. What do I need to do to get rid of this 3? Well, I need to multiply 3 on both sides. So if I multiply 3 here, and if I multiply, well, 3 here, then what will happen is that this 3 and this 3 will cancel out. So let's expand this. This multiply this here would be 3y minus 3 times 3, 9 equal. This 3 canceled out, but we have to be very careful because this minus is still there, live and well. So we need to apply this minus inside, which will change this x to negative x, which will change this minus 2 to plus 2. Okay, so if you want to put that into the general form, now you're going to move this here and move this here. So if I move this negative x, it will be positive x plus 3y equal. This is 2. If I move this negative 9 to this side, become positive 9. 9 plus 2, 11. There we go. Right? So we can figure out line equation when we have 2 points like that. We have to find the slope first, and then using the slope and one of the point that we have, we can find the final line equation like that. Okay? All right.